Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to open the meeting, and present are Board Member George Arvanitis, Board Chairman Howard Spetner, Assessors Clerk Leslie Bracebridge, and we are expecting Board Member April Stein. Sorry about that. April Stein very shortly.
Oh, she's here.
What? I'm sorry, what?
She's here.
Did
I
she
just
just
let her
check
in.
in or no? She's here. She's here. Okay.
On my way home. Wait, let me see, video.
Busy day today. Hi, April.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. The
Okay.
crisis client didn't need to be seen tonight, so okay.
No more crisis.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, and also Board Member April Stein is present. I just opened the meeting. Okay.
Okay.
The first order of business is to review and approve, edit and approve the minutes from the May 14th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, and are there any questions about them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Number 10, on page 2. There's a lot of information here, and I'm wondering if it's all necessary for the purpose of taking minutes.
Okay.
Leslie, I am curious about your opinion. What I was looking at in the first paragraph, the second or third sentence, many of the tasks were left undone. You give a brief, you give a history here. And I'm wondering if that's necessary.
No, and probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah. What does so if everybody looks at
Yeah.
What? Okay, so I'm sorry, let me get it up here.
Yeah, I'm thinking from the word many to the end of the paragraph. I think the first 2 sentences are important. There was confusion, contract for setting, similar wording, more fully conducted. The contact tracks listed tasks did not cover all the admins, assessor office. Well, maybe that part's not necessary either. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's good to have it in the record.
Yeah.
It wasn't really talking about what we were doing.
And some of it may have been stated at the select board meeting and not at the assessors meeting.
So I'm not, I'm just suggesting we think about pulling it out. I am totally okay if you want to keep it in. Everybody.
Yeah.
Do you, or we can just take out the second and third paragraphs completely. Leslie, you want to do that?
You want to take the whole paragraph out?
We could.
The second and the whole second and third paragraphs can come out, I think, without any great, I don't think,
Except it is.
Well,
it's easy. I don't. We
Maybe-
could spend a long time editing this thing if we wanted to. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but it's also important.
yeah, and I think the second paragraph, Leslie, it's what Leslie said in the meeting. As
Yes.
assessor clerk, Leslie had strong feelings. It's talking about what was going on in our meeting. So the second paragraph, I'm actually okay with. If
When you say second,
fine.
do you mean second or third?
Third, I do mean third. As the department approaches that paragraph.
Must be
I think it should leave.
definitely that one.
Yeah, I do have edits to it, but 2 edits to it, but I think it should stay.
And the last one.
The second half of the second paragraph. I'm not sure that's necessary.
I see what you're saying.
Yep.
It's well written, but.
Yeah. I'm not arguing with that.
Yep. And as I say, I can't tell you for truth what I say and when I'm speaking at a meeting, I can't go back later and say, did I say that or did I think it?
Well, so maybe we should keep that up to the contracts listed tasks did not cover all of the administrative assessor's office tasks.
That's what I was leaving. And then I took on my version of it, I crossed out everything from many all the way to the last outstanding tasks.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. I could live with that.
Short is better, oftentimes.
It's,
Okay,
That's-
so Howard, sounds like we all agree.
Could somebody summarize, we need to make a motion that we're going to approve the minutes. And in order to do that, we need to know, I need to know what the modifications are. Can somebody just go through it and tell me what the new minutes look like? What are the new minutes?
The new minutes well, first of all, you want somebody to make a motion?
No, I want to know what the thing is, and then we'll make the motion.
Yeah, so
In other words-
in section 10, on the
Right.
second page, second
Yep.
paragraph, strike the third sentence, many of the tasks were left undone, all the way to the end of that paragraph.
Okay,
So
fine.
basically that paragraph is just the first two sentences.
Okay.
And
And that's
then,
the only change?
yeah,
well, actually, on the next paragraph, third sentence, as the assessor's clerk, Leslie expressed her strong feeling. I don't know if it's better to say Leslie emphasized that Shutesbury must be searching for and hiring either an individual.
I think that's better. Yeah. Thank you.
If you don't mind,
Oh, I'm happy.
we don't like strong feelings in meetings.
So the first sentence is staying.
Everything's staying, and the only thing is I would strike expressed her strong feeling and replace
And
it with
emphasized.
emphasized.
yeah,
Yes.
I think that makes sense.
I appreciate you protecting me that way.
Yeah, because it's not your feelings.
Yeah, it's you're
Emphasized.
right, exactly. That's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, and then when you go to the end of that sentence, it says so that Leslie can resume the clerk's tasks only. And then the next sentence, it says once a 20-hour per week person is settled in, I just added in front of that. Leslie noted that once a 20-hour person is per week
Okay.
person is settled in. And
Okay.
I don't know if that's necessary. It just sounds more like a narrative that we're having.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that too.
And that's everything I had.
Okay. So
I
those
can
are
live with that.
Thank you.
okay. So Leslie, do you have all of that so that you can
I
do it?
do. Plus I have your catch, Howard,
Yeah, okay.
which is in the next paragraph that starts with David Burgess. There's an S in the last line that should be tasks.
Oh, yeah, I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so everybody knows what the new minutes are.
Yeah.
Including Leslie, who has to
Yep.
actually type them.
Yes,
And-
that's right. The most important person.
And I move that we approve the new minutes for the May 14th meeting.
I was like,
As edited. Yes.
Okay, I
I'll
vote
second
aye.
that.
I vote aye.
Arvanitis, Stein,
Yeah, Arvin.
sorry.
aye.
I had a
Okay.
class in my name.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is old business updates. Leslie, what are the old business updates?
Just a reminder that the upcoming Franklin County Assessors Association roundtable is Thursday, June 12th. If you want to attend, you can either register yourself or I can register you. It's from 10 to noon in Irving. There was a department head meeting, and I don't know if, when I went through the folder after I'd made the agenda and remade it, I don't know if you folks are interested in key points or not. It happened on May 6th. It shut me off if you don't. The most important thing that we should note is that the new town administrator wants anybody who would like to attend her department head meetings to come. That's kind of misnomer department head. And that they will be occurring on the first Tuesday of every other month. So the next one will be on Tuesday, July 1st. And they're in the morning at 10 a.m. And this one ran until noon. The other thing that I would mention to you that she said she plans to start having department written reports at some point. So we'll wait until she asks for it, but that's something to think about. And the other final thing, just so you all know, because she let different people speak. We were going to go around the room, but only the first two people got to speak. The other key thing that might be of interest to you folks is all the buildings will have security cameras inside and out, and including town hall at some point, and the police department will be responsible for monitoring those. They've been purchased. They will let us know when that happens. It's just something to be aware of.
Is that the same purchase, Leslie, as the body cameras?
I think that's a separate purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
April's saying it's
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah. There was a grant that partially covered these are the body cameras worn by the police, but this will be security cameras, up.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, fixed cameras in the building. I didn't remember having a conversation about that capital planning or finance committee, but maybe I'm just not.
Yeah, I remembered it something, but
Well, all right, whatever. I'm surprised I hadn't heard it up to now.
So I will continue
hear
to
it.
go to those meetings, and I will let you guys know when they're occurring, if they get canceled or whatever, in case you want to go, because I'm not the department head. I'm going because I'm here, and she clearly said, she's just sent out emails as broadly as she could, but if she's missed people, if it's something that interests you, feel welcome to join.
Yeah, maybe the finance people will be interested come fall and into
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Mm.
And something that we were thinking about is that on June 17th and 18th, David and I have designated those days to get a lot of site visits. And if anybody's interested in them, you could ride along for a half a day.
I wish I
One
could.
visit.
I'm out of town from June 7th, and we're returning the 21st.
Wow.
June 2nd,
No,
did you say?
yeah, I'm right here. No, the 7th.
7th, I'm sorry.
7th through the 21st. Just a little jaunt to the Cape.
Yeah,
Yep.
your spring ritual.
Yep,
Good for you.
it is.
So-
The weather's here.
And so if we want to list vacations times, I will be out July 10th through, that's Thursday. I'm not scheduled to work on Thursdays through July. I'll be back on July 21st. And also Cape Cod, not my
Yeah,
regular.
that's right. You do it too. That's right.
A week.
Somebody
but,
has to,
yeah.
somebody has to go.
Right, and I got September covered.
Howie, Howard, I think you're going to have to do August.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
I am
do
doing
Cape Cod in
August. I am doing August.
Are you
but it's not
kidding?
but it's not the Cape, it's the vineyard. But the vineyard counts, right?
Oh,
Okay,
that
that
certainly
counts.
counts. Wow, that's so funny. We'll have to all exchange notes.
Well,
Right.
I will cover August at Cape Cod, April, because it's either the 9th to the 16th. I think it's the 9th to the 16th. Emily gets her free week, which I go on, and I pay for a week, which she goes on. So we get 2 weeks.
That's nice.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice place.
We'll be in touch. And I can, with Zoom, I'm more than glad to carry right on. And summer is easy in the office. I planned it around when it would be easy here if was necessary.
Well, yeah, except this year we have a wrinkle with search.
Oh,
Right.
That's gonna add some meetings.
Yep. But there's no reason I can't meet on Cape Cod.
Okay.
Yes, there is. No, the ocean is so loud.
That's your excuse, huh, April?
Yep. We're right on the ocean. It's just can't hear a thing.
Yep.
And just another point of interest thing, which I'm not sure is old business, except it is for us. The post office are not unilaterally decided that everybody at the end of West Pelham Road, Schoolhouse Road, the people who had their mail delivered by Amherst had 01002 addresses, and the end of West Pelham, they are all changing their mailing address to Shutesbury 01072. So I went into our vision and corrected all of those there. And Ellen, I think, is going to put out some kind of notice to them too, to please go into the registry and correct your, if you're affected by this mailing address, go into the registry and change your mailing address, because that's where we get our excise tax bills from.
Yeah, that's really good news.
It is, it's going to be a transition, but it is good
It's
news.
going to produce a little extra revenue for us on the excise tax bills, because Amherst was getting our money. for those-
Some of them, I don't know how
You're
many.
supposed to go online and
Yep,
put your garage address, and how many people do you think were doing that?
yeah, exactly.
All
So
right.
it is good news, except still January Hills area is still Amherst 01002. So it's just a start.
Yeah.
Still, it's extra revenue, I'll take it.
Yep,
Every penny counts.
The motor
So-
vehicle excise bills are determined not by the actual like address, but by the post office?
The zip code on your address.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, they put it in to the Registry of Motor Vehicles for the registration, and the Registry of Motor Vehicles sends the information to us, and if it says Amherst 01002 and they hadn't corrected their place of garaging, those would go to Amherst.
Would
So
be
their
interest-
registration actually their registration says Amherst instead of Shutesbury? Is that true?
no, I think it says Shutesbury, but it says 01102.
01002, yeah.
Yeah, and so the registry doesn't look at the city, they look at they probably got it in a database and they just cross-reference the zip codes.
And
Well,
years
And then they
ago, Amherst would send them to us, but not anymore.
Yeah, they want the
stopped
money.
doing that.
That's how they're funding their town.
Yeah,
That's all right. We got funds from someone who moved to Wendell and forgot, so I said, oh, don't worry, that's all right. If you want to do it for next year, but we're not gonna get into it this year. It's the same bill.
We need every penny.
yes, we do.
Aye.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is to meet with the AA search committee members to discuss organizational procedures and next search steps. We've got a resume. Has everybody seen it?
Have
Person in
not.
Worcester.
I forwarded it to you guys this morning. The
Okay.
resume is wonderful. The cover letter is not so great.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Okay.
Did you send us the cover letter?
The email that he sent, yes.
Okay.
But I didn't.
it's
Hang on.
attached.
Would you like me to read it to you?
Oh,
The
here,
cover letter is
No.
the email, right?
Hang on
Yeah.
a second.
Yes,
Let me just check
it
my.
is.
Let
Yeah,
me
I
just
can't
check
get
my email. That's stupid.
Okay.
Okay.
places for.
Sorry. I'm so. It's a
here it
computer,
is.
and I'm so confused.
Oh, this is, okay. Hmm.
Sorry.
Hmm.
This is okay.
He knows Vision Database.
That's
looks-
the good thing.
Yeah,
This looks good.
Yes, but it very clearly states, I had mentioned that I was wondering what the hours would be. I am only looking to supplement my retirement Social Security, which is why I'm not looking for principal assessor jobs anymore. I
right.
like working in an office, answering the phone, helping residents at the counter, processing, etc. And am particularly good at communication.
Okay.
So I didn't answer him. I thought that it would be up to you guys to guide to, well, let me just say the first thing, organizational, it seems to me a motion should be made for someone to be the chairman of this. Well, 1, 2, 3, we don't have a quorum, so not this time. And April's not sworn in yet.
I know. I was going to do it this morning and I was late for work. Mañana.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I don't think
So-
she was here early this morning anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah. I like the resume. The person made a comment about not liking to go out when the weather's bad.
And he
They
lives
live
in Worcester.
Yeah. Kind of makes me feel like, are they really going to want to work in Shutesbury?
What?
In his
And
first
working-
email, he said he was thinking of moving to the area. But the second one, he's not saying that. I think somebody should speak with him, and I don't know that I should. I did not answer. I just thought, let the committee decide what to do.
Yeah, so he sent this, it looks like he sent this yesterday.
June 3rd at 8:40 p.m.
Yeah, last night. So we got time. Is Howard here? Howard dropped off. I just said, there he goes. Uh-oh, we might get an echo. Howard? Oh, there we go.
Sorry about that. I accidentally disconnected. Leslie? Leslie?
Yes.
Okay. Before I disconnected, I was going to ask you to read his cover letter because it sounds like it matters.
Okay. It says, I wrote you last week about this position. I have attached my resume. I should also have asked you what camera system you use because I am very good with Vision, but rather rusty with Patriot SS Pro. So that's really good news that he defines himself as very good with Vision. That's what we have. I had mentioned that I was wondering what the hours would be. I am only looking to supplement my retirement, i.e. Social Security, which is why I am not looking for principal assessor jobs anymore. I like working in an office, answering phone, helping residents at counter, processing, etc., and am particularly good at communication. So,
Okay.
as I previously mentioned, working in Palmer 2 days a week, any 2 days I choose, has been most pleasant, and I wish to continue helping there. But when the bad weather returns, it's a little difficult to be out doing inspections. Well, that's not commuting to Shutesbury. He's not talking about that.
No, he's not. I just, I'm kind of reading
it's
between
one
the
and the
lines.
same. So please respond, and perhaps you would like to meet me. I'm available with short notice, so this Friday or any day next week and the week after. Thank you. Stuart Carter, MAA. He's got the qualifications. He might, if he knew it was a small town, he might consider being the administrative assessor. But
He probably has the skills to do the job. Would
But
you
if you
say,
want
Leslie,
to.
from looking at his resume that he does? I mean, he was.
well, he didn't stay very long in any place.
No, you're right. 2 years, it looks like.
At most.
Yeah.
And
2 years in Stowe.
And his real career, he speaks of, was running a business.
3 years in Stowe.
Yeah.
Right. He was a
So
mortgage
it's
broker.
okay.
Yeah,
It's-
he's intelligent. He's highly educated. He has he worked as a mortgage broker, so he knows, the housing industry.
exactly.
And he's got the principal assessor experience. And, principal assessor in the town of Millbury is probably a much busier job than in the town of Shutesbury.
Yep.
Oh. Though he says he does not want to be a principal assessor. That
I know.
But we don't know if he knew what Shutesbury was.
right.
I mean,
Sooner
somebody
the
could
better.
send him an email and schedule a meeting with him. We don't have a search committee yet, so I'm not sure how are we going to administer the search committee?
That's the point. We do have we have a list of appointed people. They're being sworn in. Grace set up a link for me today on my town government, so I can post them as separate meetings. I think what we need to think about is, as I say, finding which person, and it may very well be Howard, which person wants to chair the committee. Could be just what we have right now.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to develop a list of questions. April, you're on the personnel board. You probably know better than I
Who's
looked and
available?
looked for the questions we used when Kevin was hired, and I cannot find them.
I don't, I have them either.
Well,
Becky
we're
would
gonna
have
have to
them.
put questions together.
Right. And of course, number one is, do you know vision?
Yeah.
What apps, what software have you, do you have experience with? So, and David didn't offer an opinion. He doesn't necessarily know this person. I'm thinking,
He doesn't.
Do
Okay.
you know if David wants to talk to him at all? Would he come in to do an interview?
I don't know.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I wish David was here, but he's not. And I
so
wish Haley was here
this person works 2 days a week.
in Palmer.
We're thinking about 20 hours is what we're thinking.
Yep.
We could probably do, I mean, if he wanted to come here for 2 days a week, that would probably work for us.
Well, it sounds like we need to ask him.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And we also need to get a sense of whether he can do all the jobs that David was doing for us. And in
Well,
particular, whether he can do the recap.
I would like to say that we had previously had a 20-hour-a-week person and a clerk at 12. The demands have not gotten any easier. The work was not getting done with David's schedule, Howard. And David said that himself. And in fact, when he understood that the folks might just use Roy and Diane, he had me set up a meeting with Haley. And then once that second May 20th select board meeting where it seemed established that we did need someone in this office more so than 12 hours a week and willing to oversee the department functions. He's canceled the meeting with Haley. But to just say that maybe he can do what David did, it's not really what is needed in this office. That's the paragraph.
Okay, tell me what is
eliminated.
fine. Tell me exactly what is needed, what tasks need to be done, and how much time it's going to take. Because that's what we need to, it sounds like you have a sense of what that is, and we can't go forward unless we know exactly what we're looking for. We can't tell this guy. So tell me exactly how much what does he need to do and how long will it take? How many hours a week?
Leslie, do we have job descriptions for when
Yes.
Ken and Kevin were doing it? I think that's our starting point.
Well, the personnel board reviewed that at
Yeah.
their April
Yeah.
meeting and sent it to the select board. Just waiting for a select board, Melissa and Rita, to sign off on it. And I can send you a blank copy as soon as we get off here.
When are they going to sign it? At their next select board meeting?
I put it in their mailboxes right after the warrants went out last time, and I haven't seen either of them here for more than a minute. So I think it's still sitting there. They know, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's just not signed.
Yeah, right. But I just, all right. Well, please do send me the drafts. And I would suggest asking Haley to make sure it makes it on the agenda of the next select board meeting. Or Brennan,
To
for
they
them to
already-
review it and
they
sign off on
already-
it.
No, they already approved it,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but the paper version is not signed yet.
Okay.
Oh, that's fine. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Yeah.
fine. Now, Howard's question is, the position is more open-ended than you're asking, Howard.
But you keep telling me that we need that. Yeah, I understand that. I think it's open-ended too. But I say 16 hours a week is going to work. And you say like, no, it won't. Basically, that's what you're telling me, right?
That's what I believe.
Okay, and now I want to know why. I want you to outline, like, what is it that cannot be done in 16 hours a week?
Again, that's what the job description is going to have. It's going to have all those functions and those details.
It's not going to have that in it. And the reason it's not going to have it in it is because it doesn't assign times to these things. It doesn't say, it has a bunch of jobs. What it doesn't say is how many hours a week each of these things take.
But it's also based on what David suggested. I mean, who has been doing
What did
this.
David suggest? What
I
did David
thought he was
suggest?
suggesting 20 hours a week.
But that's what the old job description said.
Yeah.
And what I am saying is the job has gotten more complex. How it worked when I was with Ken, when he
Kevin.
was here 20 hours a week, Ken, and I was here as 12, is I had some very specific jobs, including getting the deeds, putting them into vision, getting the building permits, getting them into vision, taking the minutes, doing the reports for the finance department that the assessor signed off on, doing abutters lists if Ken didn't do them. Mapping was all getting the maps, the information for the map renewals each year was all done by Ken. I can do it, I've been doing it, but it takes a lot of time. You might get an inquiry from 2 department heads, as I did this morning, yesterday afternoon. What should they do about the junction of Shore Drive and North Laurel? So I did some research for them. That takes time.
It sounds,
I was just trying to explain to Howard, that's just one particular thing that happened yesterday.
Yeah, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Okay. You're talking about 2 different jobs. You're talking about your job and the AA job, and you're mixing the two.
That's correct. That's how it's been. And the job
got
descriptions
mixed.
overlapped.
yeah.
The job descriptions also overlapped.
It sounds like
Well,
this
then that's a
candidate-
problem, because if we fill both positions, then we're overfilling because we're duplicating.
Well, I thought the plan was
Right.
that Leslie's hours were going to get scaled back
Yes.
once we had a new assessor in the office. Also, if we have a head assessor, then the head assessor is going to, as the manager, get a handle on how the office operates, and he's going to make a recommendation about how much time Leslie really needs to work.
Or how much time the administrative assessor works. I don't know that the work will get done in the 32 hours. But there is overlap, Howard, you're right. And it's not just rote. It would be nice if it is. There's a department head meeting, so who goes to that? Or do we just say, no, we're not going to the department head meeting? There's a lot of things that come up. Who's going to write the annual report? We may not have a problem with the newsletter anymore because I don't think we're getting those. But all of these little tasks are not spelled out precisely in the job description. No job description can do the things that come up every day like that. Getting the just changing the addresses that came up this week. I had a whole stack of things for the last meeting that were examples of what comes up.
There's
You need
another.
someone in charge of the office to do
It
the.
sounds like this gentleman would be more interested in doing that than being the principal assessor based on his letter.
I think he would be very good at my job, even
Yeah.
better, because he can do, in some ways, because he probably knows. I don't know what he knows about vision. If he can do all of vision, that's a real plus.
Well, yeah, if you go by his resume, he can. And
Yes.
he was a principal assessor, so he can basically, if you believe he was a competent principal assessor, he can do everything.
Yep.
And he doesn't want to do the top, the high level calculations and all that work.
He wants to do the things that I know how to do.
Right,
Yeah.
but you're here. We don't need to replace you until you decide that you're going to leave. There's another angle here, and that is we hire somebody to work 20 hours a week to do Leslie's job. with all the things she's doing now. And we have Bishop or RRG doing their thing. And this guy sounds like he could, I'm not suggesting you leave, Leslie, but I'm just thinking, what the options are here. And I know
Yep.
you've talked about at some point leaving, because I've heard you say that if we hire one of the consultants, they're not going to spend a lot of time here. They're
That's
just going
correct.
to make sure things are right. They're going to be the ones responsible for signing off with the DOR, excuse me. But we're going to need somebody with boots in the ground to do a lot of the field work, the customer issues, the research, the stuff you're doing now. And that
Yeah.
might not be a bad model if we
Right.
can't find a principal assessor who only wants to work 20 hours a week.
Yeah. Actually,
I
that's a
still
good
think you're
model.
going to need 20 plus 12. I mean, that's what we were doing before it dropped back.
Right.
So are
So
we
if,
looking at, are you talking about having the assistant, the 20, and the assessor, the 12? Is that what we're looking at?
so you don't think that RRG would be the 12? If your position remained as it is, we found somebody to do it, or you kept doing it, and then at some point we find somebody else to do it when you're ready to leave. And then we have a contractor, a consultant. I'm just brainstorming here, by the way. I'm not
Mhm.
suggesting
Yeah.
any of this. We have somebody who can come in and do that, get the recap done and all those forms and things, and are also able to do the research and the vision stuff.
And answer, if someone comes in, there's another one there, we had a person the other day wanting to understand why his value went up.
Mhm.
That's not the clerk's job.
Right. That's where you're going to say to the guy, Roy or Roy's wife or
Right?
whoever's are working for us,
Or me.
you need to
Or me.
contact this guy and explain this to him.
I can do
And
that.
they're the ones who are going to make that calculation anyways, right? In those situations?
You just look at
Or
the
at least
property
they're going to
card and you
sign off
figure
on
it
what
out.
you did.
That
Yes?
stuff's not hard. You just look at the property card and figure it out.
Well,
Leslie
it's a
seems to think
compilation.
otherwise.
There's and having an understand. There's a lot of
I've
breadth
done
of
it. I've done it.
knowledge.
I've done it for us. The only
Okay.
reason it's hard, the only reason it gets hard is because Kevin Rudden forgot to put in the values from 21 and 22, and then you can't figure out why they changed because they're not there. But if they're, if they're there, then you just run down the numbers and you see it's not that
So
bad.
Howard, this individual wanted to know why his preliminary bills were so low and the actuals were so high, because the bank was trying to calculate what his escrow should be. That's not exactly what you did one time with one person. There's a lot of unique questions that get asked all the time.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to reach out to this man
Yep.
and to interview him and see if, we have to be creative in this. And I think this brainstorming is helpful. And Leslie, your work is incredibly valuable. And I keep having a sense it's like enough already. It's, that having more help in the office would be huge.
It definitely would.
Yeah.
But I'm not qualified to be the principal assessor, and
Right.
that you need a principal assessor, I think.
Exactly.
Well,
if
and
we
you
had-
need somebody with the certification to do certain things, do you not?
Yes,
And this
And he-
guy has those certifications.
Do we
correct.
know that? What is MAA?
That's what he
He's
says.
an MAA, right? Yeah. What is that? What's an MAA?
I don't know exactly, Howard, because I never chose to pursue it, but
But he was a principal assessor,
yep, and he has the MAA.
Yeah.
managed Department of
Whatever it
Revenue
is.
gateway filing and budgeting. So
I mean, it probably knows. I mean, we need somebody to set the tax rate for us in the fall.
Yeah.
We need somebody to do the recap, basically.
Well,
And
so maybe
Roy
we
can
should
do that.
maybe we should forward this resume back to David and say, David, based on the credentials that you see in here, is he certified to do all the filings that a principal assessor does that you've been doing, David?
I think he is, but
Yeah.
that without a doubt.
Okay,
He's
all right.
saying that he
Looking at his-
doesn't
Okay.
want to.
Yeah, looking at his
Okay,
resume.
so, so we'd have a person in our office who could do those things and the DOR would accept it.
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
sort of
true.
wondering, I haven't heard the phrase principal assessor before, so I'm kind of wondering what it is.
I think different towns use different names. I
That's
know when I
correct.
was looking
Really?
at the salaries for these, I saw different,
Okay.
kind of different.
He does
Yeah,
say
in
from,
a bigger town,
no,
principal
from-
assessor might
from-
be the
from
title
February-
because,
from February 23rd to the August 24th, he was the principal assessor for the town of Millbury. He says that
Okay, this is
No,
after
no,
Stowe
right.
or before Stowe?
after Stowe, before Stowe. It was after
Stowe,
Yeah,
and
Stowe
Stowe
was
is
where
like
the-
20 to, Stowe is like 20.
22. That's
Yeah.
right. And 23 to 24, he was the principal assessor. And then he became in January of this year, the data collector
Whatever that is.
for
Okay.
Palmer.
yeah, so a principal assessor, it looks like for 16 months in Millbury.
Yep. I
And
think
a
we have,
data collector, measuring properties and
I think we'd be
generating new
crazy.
growth, address major issues.
I might give Millbury a call and ask them whether, how that went.
Well, we have to, I think we'd be crazy not to interview him.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's not like we've got a pile of fish to choose from. This is the only fish
Okay.
that landed on the deck.
I think that's
yeah,
right.
right,
I think that's
right,
true.
Leslie, we haven't got any others.
No, no.
No, and we have nothing else. We have, in your opinion, Leslie, and I'm not sure where we have it, are we advertising enough?
It's going in, the Beacon was supposed to be published on June 2nd.
Okay,
So that might get somebody. I put it on the MMA, the Massachusetts Association of Assessing Officers. That's there until June 27th. Jackie Boyden from Irving, who is the current president of the Franklin County Assessors Association, had told me by email a month ago that she would circulate it for them. So as soon as the job description was finalized on May 20th, I sent a shortened ad to her to circulate. She circulated for Irving only because she's retiring. And she also put in a full column just about I saw it in the bulletin for the Irving position. So I think she wants to fill her job first. and then I will be going to that roundtable meeting on the 12th. And I will be bringing copies of our job description, copies of our ad to that meeting for people. But
thank you for that.
well, I think that maybe she's holding off on circulating it for us till
Yeah.
hers is full. And I will tell her, if you get anybody that you don't accept, if you get more people, send them here.
Yep.
I hear everybody, and I have always said that I want to be here as long as it's important to be here. But if you can find someone who wants the whole thing, I can walk away. I'd like to stay on as the clerk, but the important thing is to get someone qualified to do the job here.
Yep.
And maybe Howard's right. Maybe he only wants 16 hours and he feels like he could get things done. And maybe I could pick up more than 12, and maybe we could make it work that way.
Well, if you picked up an extra 4 hours a week, you'd have the 32.
Yeah.
But you're trying not to do that.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
already working that.
Yeah,
Well, no, well, right now I'm working close to 20 and I'm here working a lot more, but it's hard for me to differentiate like what Howard's saying.
Yeah.
What exactly does he have to do? What doesn't he have to do? And if there's a principal assessor sitting here, then those people who walk in the door and ask those technical questions that I might have to research, the administrative assessor might say, oh, yeah, that's simple, just this, bye.
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, that would be
Okay.
ideal.
So
Well,
Okay, so do we
so
want, so we should get him up here for an interview, right?
We need
We
to
should get him here,
convene our
right?
committee, our search committee to do that, do we not?
Yes, I think that the search committee is the one who would interview.
Yep.
So the next
Well,
meeting,
well, he said he can come up on Friday. Do you want to just have him up on Friday?
I don't, that would be more a question for April. Because
I
Well,
work
not-
Fridays. I could, I could give an hour 10 to 11 on Friday morning. That, because then I go to work in the afternoon.
what
I can
I
do
was,
that.
what I was leaning toward is when I went to post on Indeed, it turns out they do charge, so I didn't, but there was a piece about handling everybody the same, asking the same questions
Yeah.
so that you don't discriminate.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I wasn't wondering when you were available, April. I was wondering if we're jumping into something before we are managing it correctly.
You're absolutely right, Leslie.
Yeah, again, we should convene that committee. We should, this is my opinion, and we should put the list of questions together and then, yeah, contact him at the end of that meeting, agree to contact him and get him in. He'll be our first interviewee.
We,
Um,
we,
sorry,
Agree.
I'm thinking. Um,
And I
Is
do
there,
not know.
I mean, are there specific protocols? Can we just not, are we not allowed to just call somebody and bring them up here? Is there more to it than that?
First of all, the search committee has not been formed and hasn't met. And I agree with Leslie. We have to have a list of uniform questions.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this guy disappearing if we don't call him this week.
Why not?
I know we got a problem with April's schedule. It is going to be a little tricky, especially with the loud waves at the Cape. It's basically she's going to be gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we do lose that. When are you leaving again, April?
Saturday.
Oh,
I'm
right.
back the 2
Right.
weeks from Saturday. And I have no idea where the questions. Trying to think where we, and I
I'm
know
not sure I do either. Honestly, without the job description, I don't have a very clear understanding of the jobs. I mean, I know what the office does.
do we have a job description online?
Do you have it, April, that you can forward it to us?
I do. I don't know.
Your emails with the personnel board?
Yeah, let me check. I don't
April?
remember. Yeah.
Sorry. April, have you ever done one of these before? You ever been involved in a job search?
In a job description? Yeah.
Job search for a
Job
town
search.
employee.
Oh, and I've been on search committees. Yes.
Yes, me too. Not recently.
So have you done job interviews?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do it with like a list of questions? Like
Yes.
you had a bunch of things that you asked people,
Yeah.
and it was the same
was-
questions for everybody.
Yeah.
And then did you just have general conversations with these people? Because that's what's happened to me when I've had job interviews.
Well, it's sort of, you can expound on what they're saying, but you have
Yeah.
certain set questions. Here is that.
We don't want to sound desperate either. But if you ask everybody the same question, then you've got a measuring stick in which to measure everybody against each other, if you will,
Right.
to see who has the strength, where each one's strength is, where each one's weakness is. And it just gives you a level comparison.
Okay.
It's unfortunate vacations.
Yeah.
I'm gone from the 18th to the 23rd. So to me, we couldn't even convene without April. We're not going to be able to convene the meeting until Tuesday the 24th, Wednesday the 25th. It's 3 weeks away. So maybe we do this without April. or at least started without April.
That would be, I could live with that.
So, yeah, Leslie's not here. So, Howard, do you remember who's on the committee? You, me, April, Leslie.
It's six, there are six people. You, me, April, Leslie, David, what's her face? Haley.
I am
Oh.
here. I'm just at the other computer. I was going to email the job description to all of you.
Oh, thank you.
It's all three
Okay.
assessors. It's David and me and Haley.
Yeah, so because it's not just us, we can't make that decision to call this person. I think Haley and David might object to that. I'm not saying they would, but they might.
And in
Okay, I
fact,
really don't think we should not leave this person hanging for, I would say, more than a week. I think we need to get
Let's
back to
convene a
him.
meeting next week. I mean, somebody should contact Haley, right? Because the town administrator usually is the one that pulls these things together.
I talked with her this morning and I asked her if she could come tonight. And she didn't say why. She just said she would try, but apparently she couldn't. And she said that she would ask me how it went in the morning.
Okay, so please ask her to, right, Howard, please ask her to convene a meeting as soon as possible. Send an email to us. When can you guys meet with me? Let her know that April will probably be out for the next 2 weeks, but we should proceed.
Yeah.
We have a fish in the hook, and we don't want it to throw the hook.
I'm not sure, George. You might know better than I. She has really been involved with other things. There was a shift that happened with Gabe, that the town administrator was pushing things back on committees.
Yeah, but that's because Gabe didn't have the time. She was
Yeah.
an interim. And
I'll ask her tomorrow, but I think she would be just as happy if this committee, which really we don't have a sworn quorum here, but I think she'd be just as happy if we planned a meeting and just hope that she gets here.
Well, she does, I mean, so we have six people on this we have six people on this committee, okay? How many people have to be there to actually make decisions?
A quorum.
Yeah.
4.
I'm looking for a number here. 4?
4.
3 or 4 is what 4. We need
Then
4
that can't
people.
be 3 because you don't have a quorum. Quorum is
Okay,
a
fine.
majority. You got
So that means okay, it sounds like, and David, we're going to be hard pressed to get David to come, I think.
Well, we can do them online.
Yeah. At least the initial.
Yeah, we can sort of tell David that we kind of like have to have him there to have a quorum. But we can take him off the committee, which might be, if the committee had 5 people, it could be, 3
I want David
people.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want him
I think we
involved
want
too. I just don't
David
think he
involved.
wants to do it.
I
I don't
think
think
he
he
does.
wants to do
I
it.
think he does want to be at the meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, David,
Okay, fine.
who's going to ask the question? Who's going to help us write the questions? I mean,
Yes.
David's here through
Okay.
July. Let's pick the brain clean.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, why would we, we're paying him. Let's get, I love Dave. He's great. And
He is
he's got a
fabulous.
tremendous amount of knowledge and he can help us. And if he wants to help, we should let him.
Yeah.
Okay. So so we need Haley, but the main thing is I think we need Haley there actually.
I'm just thinking historically,
wanna-
the town administrator was always the one who kind of just pulled all this
yeah.
stuff together.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's the town administrator's job. We're all volunteer. Well, we're not volunteers, right? But typically, I'm used to the volunteer model where, she pulls us together, gets the ball rolling, and then we do our jobs.
Yep. Does she
Yeah.
know to do that?
I
don't
hope
know.
so. Yeah, I
That's-
don't know.
Okay.
There's a lot going on all at once.
I know.
think you all are aware of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the job of a town administrator.
Yeah. It's
You
spinning
know,
plates, many
There,
plates.
she's basically a town administrator is your mayor. It's your town manager. It's a smaller town.
Well,
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not as political as a mayor, I understand, but it's
No.
usually-
And the mayor has more statutory,
of course, but
Liberties.
they still report to the counselors, right?
yes.
Yeah.
our select board.
Yeah.
It's
That's
essentially
correct.
a similar model.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
It's-
differences, no question about it. I understand.
Decision-making, yeah.
But as far as organizing things and, making sure everybody's doing their job, making sure all the wheels are turning,
Yeah.
town
Yes,
administrator is a big cog in all of that.
Yeah.
that's correct. And we had one who was doing all of that.
Yeah, we did.
Haley is brand new, never been a town administrator. And there's been some precedent in Gabe's role of pushing this back to committees. But I wanted to just make sure Howard understands that we are part of a committee and we cannot just individually make decisions. And that's this is all the search procedure policy that the personnel board set up.
Okay.
And I think we have to do it right.
Yes. We
Okay,
do.
and I'm going to point out to you once again that if we don't get it done fast, we're not going to get anybody.
Yeah, no, somebody has got to pull I'm
As in
around
tomorrow.
next week. Somebody has
Tomorrow.
got to pull this committee together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Leslie, you're going to
So-
be in the town hall tomorrow?
I am.
Okay, so you can talk to Haley if you see her. Tell her we need this thing done.
Maybe we could email her.
Listen, Leslie, if you don't want to talk to her, I can talk to her.
I'll do it on Friday. I'm out of town tomorrow.
I think I'm not sure what the questions are, and I think as a group we have to say, okay, we met tonight. We may not have all been sworn in, but we won't go there. We've got
No.
4 people here. We've got 4 people here, and let's put in the minutes what we're going to do.
We want to ask, the only thing we want to do is ask Haley to pull together the search committee.
Yes. And
That's the only thing we're asking right now. Pull us together, schedule a meet, find out when we can all meet,
Yep.
schedule that meeting, let her know that April, the only other thing I would say is April will not be here for the next 2 weeks. We should
Yeah.
still proceed. April understands and is
Oh, yeah.
shaking her head yes. So
And also it was usually Becky who came up with the questions. I mean, that was,
Okay,
She probably asked the small town administrators to send them to her, maybe. Does that sound?
maybe,
yeah, they might
Maybe.
have templates. Yes.
but that we could communicate with Haley as well, that we would like her to start pulling questions together for this committee. I mean, I think she needs some direction.
I think
well, I don't think Haley, does Haley, in order to put together questions, you need to know what the assessor does.
Yep.
And
yeah,
I'm
I think it's
guessing-
going to be the committee that does it, and it's going to be with Dave's input mostly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why I just
I can
think if we don't, we got to bring
I
the
mean,
committee together, and we can work all these things out.
Exactly.
Sure, okay, fine, committee meeting. Okay, so that's it. We're gonna schedule a committee meeting for this, and we're gonna do it
Yeah,
soon.
and if sooner the better. I agree with you, Howard. ASAP.
Mm.
Next
Okay.
week is fine with me. Find the 2 days. If it's Thursday, she should be able to schedule a meeting for Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday next week. If she pulled it together tomorrow, she could even probably do one for Monday.
Yeah.
But the clock's ticking on the 24 hours. Actually, no. But anyways,
All right, so
Okay.
give me all your availabilities. Are you talking evenings? Are you talking days or either? Or
I'm available all next week.
Tuesday,
that daytime or night?
All day, all week. You tell me. I'll
Okay,
make it whenever it is. Aaron
Okay.
Saunders is going to be here on Monday at 1 o'clock. That's the only thing I'm really got to do next week.
okay, so maybe before or after his visit, huh? 4 p.m. on
Well,
Monday?
that'd be fine with me. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I'm available. Don't even tell her George is fine. Just ask everybody
Okay.
else and tell George when.
Howard?
I'm not available Tuesday or Thursday.
But Monday you could.
Yeah, Monday is fine.
So Monday or Wednesday.
And when I get into when I get back, I work Wednesday, but I could do Wednesday evening or Monday,
This is going to be
Tuesday.
done.
Yeah.
This is going to be done before you're back.
Well, what's
Well,
gonna be
we'll-
done? I mean,
yeah.
we're gonna talk, maybe
Better
we
be.
can talk to this guy. Maybe he doesn't work out. We still
Yeah.
gotta keep looking.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll make it work.
we can schedule our next assessors meeting and piggyback them for, this is the 4th today. So,
The 20 How about the 25th?
18, 25. That's when you'll be back.
I'll be back on the 25th.
On the what?
We might be able to pull together a meeting without April, but with David on Monday, get our
Yes.
list of questions. Perhaps determine if we need to have a chairman, which maybe will be Haley. It's a committee. It seems like it needs a leader at the top to say.
Absolutely.
If we meet
Absolutely.
Monday and we get our questions done, we can contact this guy and schedule our next meeting based on his availability for an interview.
So I'm looking at Monday at 4 p.m.
Yes,
When did Saunders did you
that's
say?
1 o'clock. And I
1
don't have
p.m.
to be there. I can miss
No.
Saunders. If everybody can do 1 o'clock, I'll do 1 o'clock.
No, but maybe 2 o'clock so that you don't have to.
Well,
why
it doesn't
wait till
matter.
4?
Yeah, I don't, it's a
Okay,
2-minute
Monday
drive.
afternoon, I'll
You'll
tell
get a
him.
bike ride in.
Yeah, I can bike I'll get my miles in that day, my
We'll see
half
if-
mile in that day.
We'll shoot
32
for
today.
Monday.
No, 34 today.
Wow. We'll aim for Monday afternoon or evening? Does that work for you, Howard?
Later is better.
Evening?
Later is better.
Late afternoon or evening is better for me.
Later afternoon. Well, I guess you're going for a bike ride, George.
Well, we'll see.
And you never know, it might take a while before I can, because I'll have to talk with her and see when she can come
Yeah.
before I
Talk to
post.
David first. Talk to David first.
Yep, okay.
I mean, to me, Haley should be reaching out to everybody and finding out everybody's availability.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
good luck
just
with that. Good
scheduling
luck
a
with
meeting. And,
Yeah, that's
you,
not gonna
me,
happen.
Howard, she knows when we can meet. Leslie,
Yeah.
she knows when she can meet. David's really the only wild card.
Yep,
And Haley, Haley's probably gonna want to do it in the afternoon before she goes home for the day.
you're right.
And she's not going to learn the job unless she starts doing the job. And
Yeah.
this is a way for her to learn the job.
Yeah, and Gabe was here as an interim basis. No policy or no responsibilities of the town administrator should be changing because of what Gabe did. I love Gabe. She was great. Thank God for Gabe. But, she was not in a role where she should be redefining the town administrator job for the town.
No.
And I'm not, I guess I implied that she did for that period of time.
Right.
It was
She
very-
did
She was
things the
very
way
clear that she was pushing it back on departments to handle their own stuff.
she
but
was trying
now
to do the town.
We now have a little bit different structure. Brennan's title is administrative assistant, not administrative secretary.
Right.
And so I typically answer to him, and I hardly see Kaylee, and I ask and answer to him. And I don't know if that's defined somewhere. Nobody said that, but that he checks in with me every day. How are things going in the office? And I tell him what I'm up to. So that's all I'm saying is I don't know the structure anymore.
Well, I think that's part of what we're struggling with, I think, is that
Yes.
Haley may not be aware that really should be her role. Brandon's not the TA, she is. He's her assistant.
As far as we know, maybe the select board, I don't know, has the select board decided something different and we
Let's
just
try
haven't
with
been
Haley.
told
If
yet?
she doesn't like the idea, she'll let us know.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good. I'm happy with that.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is to review, edit, and
Actually,
approve the May account. No,
Howard,
we're not done.
no. So
Okay,
when we met in March, we decided that we were going to shoot in every direction. We were going to try talking to CRG, Bishop. CRG. We were going to talk to other
RRG.
towns.
ROG.
Them too.
Yeah, RRG, sorry. And then we were going to talk to, the Pelham assessor and the Irving assessor. And we also agreed in the last meeting to talk to RRG and see what they can do for us. So we have an idea of what they can do for us. And I think that's important when we talk to this guy, because this guy sounds like he'd come in and do a lot of what Leslie's doing, has the ability to do all the things that Leslie's doing now, and maybe even do principal jobs, but we might still need some support for some of that work. And RRG might be say, yeah, call us when you need us. Here's our
Yeah.
hourly rate. And they can kind of help us in the peak periods.
Yep.
If we like this guy, and I don't want to chase Leslie out. Leslie,
No, that's
talk
fine.
about you.
That's fine, but I don't think he's gonna want to work 32 hours anyway. He's got
No,
his
but that's
family.
yeah, right. And so do we know, is this consulting firm going to be able to do the other 12 hours? And those 12 hours fluctuate, do they not? They're not 12 hours every week necessarily. There's more hours in October and November, maybe less hours at other times of the year.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. That
I'm
does
wondering
make
what Leslie
sense.
thinks of that.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I mean, I think we have to be
So
creative.
what else? Anything
It's-
else
So I'm wondering if we can have a conversation with them.
with RRG?
Yes.
Yes.
What can
I
you
think
do
it's
for
a
us?
bad, I don't think it's a good idea to go to RRG without knowing exactly what we're asking for. And
I want to know what
whether,
they
and if
offer
they
us
say,
services.
and if they say yes, then we
No,
say
I'm not
yes.
asking them to do the job.
No.
I want to know what services they can offer us.
Yeah, we need
I
to
mean,
know
just
that.
generally what they do.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us give us a list of the things you can do. Are you okay if we don't ask you to do all of it? See what they say. How do you operate with other towns? They might tell you, they might have documentation that has it spelled out. Here's what we can do. They might even have a menu of what we can do with a price on each. I don't
Who
know,
knows?
but we can have a better understanding of what they can do. And if we're looking at candidates, is the right solution to hire a candidate and supplement with them? If we don't know what they can do, and I also think it's really, I think we should have contact with them just to let them know we exist and have not even a
Yes.
relationship necessarily, but as their business grows and changes and their capabilities grow and change,
Yeah.
know that, we're here and maybe
Yeah.
they can help us. Because what I see, when I see all these towns getting supported by them, I see a trend,
Mhm.
because this was not the case 10 years ago.
Mm-mm.
And if this is a trend, I don't want this trend to pass by Shutesbury.
I agree.
I think,
So do you want to do that? Do you want to get in touch with them?
I think that we should wait until Monday, if Haley calls this meeting together. I think George is making very good points, but once again, shouldn't it wait till Monday? And maybe Haley will be the one to reach out, or
It would be, yeah.
I'd be fine
I
with
think-
that. Yeah,
I
I would
think-
be fine with that.
Okay.
We can talk about this in that form if you folks think it's appropriate.
I don't-
That's a good suggestion, Leslie.
I don't think, I can scan this and send it to you later. This is the search, the guidelines for the candidate search. And at the first meeting, elect a chair, discuss purpose of committee and clarify difference between screening and selecting, establish a timeline, procedures and materials needed. So I think that should
Okay.
happen on Monday.
All right. I withdraw what I said.
No,
And
don't withdraw it. It was all very good information.
we can reconvene on this particular point in the
On
next
Monday.
committee.
Yeah.
If we can get a meeting on Monday.
Yep.
She'll have to post it. It'll have to get posted before 4 o'clock tomorrow.
No, it's not.
You know that.
No. Oh,
It's-
yes,
wait a minute,
yeah,
what-
Now
that's
it's
right.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yep, you're right. Yep. That was my plan. I just got mixed up.
No,
in the
that's
days.
okay. That's fine, Leslie.
Search committees don't have to be posted, but I guess the assessors would have to be.
That's
We
just
don't-
search committee meetings don't have to be posted?
I don't think so. They're not public. I don't think
It's
so.
a meeting. I'll ask Grace, but I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, Grace
If
would
you're a
know.
committee, you
Yeah,
have to.
well, all right, whatever
post.
Grace says, you
Yeah,
know.
whatever
Yeah.
Grace says, I'll go with, but I
Yeah.
somehow,
Well, I think it's a good point, though, that if we have two assessors in a meeting, we should be
yeah, you should
Posted
post
anyway.
that.
Yeah.
posted. Yeah, I mean,
But
there's been
it's-
committees have been in trouble for not having meetings posted when too many of their people were in the room together. Not us,
Right.
Finance Committee.
Grace was the one, April, who set up so I can post the meetings. I think maybe there were times when the meetings weren't posted, but they should have been, that you've
Probably.
experienced.
Anyway, be that as it may.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll ask Grace on tomorrow also
and
that question.
yeah.
I don't think she would have
Okay.
set me up if they didn't have to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, all right. So again, we'll talk about that when we meet.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is to review, edit, and approve the May accountant reports. I believe there is one, and it's excise tax abatements. I have that right? Motor vehicle?
Yes.
Totaling 109.81.
Okay. So anybody have any questions about those?
Is this the one that adds up to $109.81?
That's
That's a good
correct. That was
question.
for the month of May.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept this scheduled
I-
accountant report.
I second. I vote aye.
Arvin, I.
And Stein, aye.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is to review, edit, and approve motor vehicle excise tax commitment number 3 for 2025. Any questions about that?
Nope, I make a motion that we approve the
This
motor
is for
vehicle and
13,
trailer tax excise third commitment.
13,
I second
7,
it.
11, and okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
13,711. Yeah. Arvin,
I vote aye.
And
I vote
Stein,
aye. Okay, the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is to review, edit, and approve the 8 of 58 requests for calendar year 21 to 23 for motor vehicle excise taxes and FY 23-24 personal property taxes. Just to refresh everybody's memory, those are the taxes that have been deemed uncollectible, and
Yeah.
therefore Ellen needs us to formally abate those so that she can wipe them from the books.
So, okay, what's the total amount of these? Is that what's hand scribbled at the bottom?
Yeah, on the revised one, the real one is there, but also the revised one. So for motor vehicle 2021, it's 49.57. For 22, it's $317.91. And for 23, it is $569.99.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
All right. Do we know the status? I think I asked you this yesterday, Leslie. Do we know where we are in the overlay?
I did not speak with Gail about it.
Okay.
That money doesn't actually come out of overlay, does it?
Yeah.
Or do we have to?
This is.
Do we move that money out of overlay?
Oh, this is different.
Yeah.
It may come out of overlay. I don't know.
Well, if the year's already over, they already closed the books. So
Oh, right.
probably it already came out of the overlay.
The year's not over yet. This is what I think why Ellen was trying to get us to do it.
Oh, I was thinking in terms of 2023, the years that these are for.
Right.
Yeah, but you can go back into overlay for previous years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I
Okay.
make a motion that we accept these abatements.
I
And I'll
second it.
second them.
I can
I'll
ask
hold
Ellen when she returns if
Oh,
they
that's
come-
okay, Leslie. No, that's fine.
Okay.
I know if there's a problem, we'll find out. So I assume it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So, sorry, did we vote on this?
Did
No,
somebody
we're about
second
to-
I
it?
vote aye. I vote aye. It's been
Arvin, I
moved, but
say.
I haven't.
And Stein, aye.
Okay. The motion passes. Okay. The next item on the agenda are real
Wait a minute, we
estate. and
didn't do the personal property yet.
Right.
Oh, we didn't. Okay, fine.
No. So that's 130.02.
Okay.
130.02 for 24, and for 23, it's 42.72.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. I move that we approve the 8 of 58 requests for personal property for FY23 and FY24.
I'll second.
Okay, I vote aye.
Harvard, I say.
And Stein, aye.
The motion passes. Okay. The next item on the agenda are we have a real estate and a CPA administrative abatement. This is property on Baker Road that was eventually turned over to a foreclosure company that I believe that's based in Oklahoma, and has since been bought by an agency of the federal government. And
No,
okay, tell me. I'm sorry, maybe I got it all wrong. What's correct?
209 Baker Road is now in the hands of the United States of America Secretary of Housing and Urban Development in Washington, D.C. Prior to November, it was owned by this Noved Management Consulting Tax Company. And prior to that, by Rita Plaza. So the first 3 quarters were paid. The 4th quarter is not paid. On David Burgess's advice, because the U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is a government agency and those are exempt from taxation, he recommended that the outstanding amounts that have not been paid be abated.
Okay, so the abatement request that we're looking at, that was written by David. It wasn't written by the federal government.
David recommended that we abate the 4th quarter because the property is now owned by the federal government.
Okay, I'll ask it again. We're looking at an abatement request. There's a handwritten request.
Yes, that's an
that got sent to us.
administrative abatement that
Right.
David.
That means, so David wrote it out. That's what that means. That's what an administrative abatement is. It's when David decides.
Yes, I wrote it. David
Okay.
decided.
You wrote it. Okay, fine. That's why. Okay. I was wondering why I recognized the handwriting. Okay. So, okay.
And that's for 6,533.
Well, only a quarter of it. Yeah, the total tax was 6,533.04. 3 quarters of it were paid. Ryan this morning gave me the amount of 1683.13, which I emailed to you guys this morning.
I'm looking at it.
That's the abatement amount that you're looking at. And for the CPA, it's abated 1997.
Yep.
So the idea is that these bills are not going to go out on June 15th. Or are they? No, that's the 4th quarter bills, right? So they went out on March 15th.
That's correct. Yes, the ones that are going to go out at the end of June are for FY26.
Right. So what happened with those 4th quarter bills? Were they paid,
They
or did they just sort of?
Ellen sent them did whatever demand is. She told me she's put a demand on them. And I spoke with Ryan about that this morning, and it's both of our understandings that the interest and penalties if she's already put interest and penalties on, that will be removed. This is just the amount of the 4th quarter, the amount of that had not been paid for FY25.
Okay, but these bills were sent, right? And there's a demand out now, right?
Yes.
Okay, what happens with all of that? I mean, what happens if the checks come in?
Then we take the money.
Yeah, it goes in the general fund.
Yeah.
So,
but she has to balance out her books, and this has not been paid. David does not believe it will be paid because the property is now in the hands of a government agency.
Okay, so we're going to So we're abating this money, which basically means we're saying that you don't owe us this money anymore, right?
Or we're not
We
expecting.
don't
to get this.
expect to get
We're not
it.
expecting it.
Well, because the people that own it now are tax exempt. The ownership up to
Or
the
what?
point that it went to HUD was the property tax was paid. And that, right? And this is my
That's right,
understanding.
yeah.
And then HUD took it over. They're a tax exempt organization.
So was the bill sent to the mortgage company or to HUD?
The mortgage company, I'm assuming.
Well, we wouldn't send it to HUD because they're not.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
Well,
Okay. So
I-
presumably
we did.
the most likely outcome here is that the mortgage company got a fourth quarter bill. They never paid it. They're not going to pay it. They just throw it out.
But they're not the owner of record. Why would they have gotten it?
Well, the bill has to go out.
Yeah, but
The fourth quarter, I
you
assume
send
the
it to
fourth
the
quarter
owner
bill
of
has to go
record.
out.
Right, but
No
it-
bad
right.
management got the first bills. In December, we asked David, who should we mail this to? We showed him the deed. And it said the new owner is Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Normally, when there's a closing, the attorneys work out who's going to pay the rest of the bills for the year. It's
Yes.
worked out in the closing. This was not a closing. This was a foreclosure. So what we believe happened is Novid Management Consulting Tax Department continued, and I apologize, Howard, I see where you see Oklahoma right now. I am so sorry, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We assume, and we cannot tell, Ellen cannot tell because they were electronic payments. She's assuming that the Novid Management Company in Tulsa, Oklahoma paid the first 3 quarters. But
Okay.
they did not pay the fourth quarter.
They didn't
Okay.
own it.
Okay, fine. So they would have paid it by, okay, fourth quarter goes out in March, paid it. Yeah, they would have paid it. Got it. Okay, fine. So whatever happened with it, whatever happened, it's just not getting paid. And that's the end of it. Okay.
the hope
Okay,
is
Okay, I'm
that
good.
the property will get sold and we'll have a resident in again and we can start taxing again.
That would be really nice.
Is there a house there?
Yes. Oh, yes. It's
Okay.
a
Right, that's why it's $6,000 of
large
taxes,
house,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Is this that big,
brown.
yeah, that seems to have been vacant forever?
Yes, that's the
Oh.
one.
Great, so something may happen there.
Yes. A lot of people have asked over the years, what's the story?
Yeah.
Is it for sale? And it would be nice
There's
to,
a housing shortage. We should sell it. So hopefully they'll sell it.
Yeah.
My question is
They need to
why
own it.
are all these weird, why are all these weird stories? Why do they all involve Baker Road?
that's the assessor's office is not a cut dry office. That's all I can say.
You get to see some of the weird stuff that goes on in the world, don't you?
Oh my gosh, I could have told you, I went through a bunch of them yesterday. Each one was a little
Okay.
weirder. Some of them
Okay.
I'm saving for David first before I mention.
And we can put them in the movie.
Okay, so again, have we voted on this? I don't think so.
No, I make a motion that we
move.
accept this abatement.
I move that we approve the abatement requests
I'll
for
second.
something for some number Baker Road.
209.
I'll second.
209?
Mhm.
Okay. I vote aye.
Arvinez, aye.
And Stein, aye.
The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is to review the town meeting votes. What happened?
What?
They both passed.
It passed.
Thank you.
And it
Okay.
was nice to see Al Springer speaking to him. That
I
was a
sent him
surprise.
the information. I had no idea he was gonna.
It was good to see him. It was good to see. It's been a long time.
I thought it was great how him and Becky sat next to each other and they chatted
Yeah.
it up through the whole day. I thought that was great.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yes. I can imagine.
They have history.
Oh, yes.
It's great. No, it's really great. I saw him when he was checking in. He was right behind me and I talked to him briefly, hey Al, great to see
Yeah.
you here. And he came up to the microphone. Howard, I was, everybody said George is going to speak to this.
George, you do it. I'm too
He walked
tired.
right. He was at the microphone before they even got the motion out. It's like, so.
And what was the thing he said about a bunch of chipmunks and that? There was something he said.
Oh, no, that was about the lake. If you put all the high-speed boats in the morning along with the kayakers, it would be like putting a chipmunk in with a herd of cats. Or maybe it was the reverse.
Yeah,
I
he spoke a few
appreciated
times.
that.
Yeah. Anyways.
That was
Yeah, no,
nice.
it went smooth. It was both warrant articles were voted unanimously.
Yeah. No drama.
Yeah, no
Leslie,
questions.
you look tired too.
No, I was just saying I'm not going to say what I'm just not going to say anything.
I'll just say a little bit. No, it's okay. No, it's okay.
Well, there's a whole list of benefits from $400 up to $1,000, and he said, "Oh, they're just getting $400." I don't think he really got the whole picture, but it's okay. It passed.
Okay.
Right.
It's okay.
fine.
We're clear.
Just took me and George by surprise.
Yeah, it sure did. I wasn't expecting to see him there.
It's okay.
I did think
Well,
that it
this
was
isn't gonna affect-
appropriate to let him know that with these warrant articles were there, because he is our representative to the veterans,
That's right.
Upper Pioneer Valley Veterans thing. So it is his responsibility to advocate for it.
Yeah, and he took the responsibility. I
And this
thought it was
isn't going to
great.
affect the tax rate, right?
It
It comes out of the overlay.
The overlay.
Okay, fine. Okay. And we're still not quite sure how much is in the overlay at this point.
The estimate was
Okay.
$4,000.
That's
That's
all.
kind of-
That's not much.
Yeah, that's what well,
That's-
remember, we don't have that many veterans in town, and it's doubling.
No. I meant how much was actually in the overlay account. That's what I was
We
wondering.
don't know.
Overlay is typically 40,000.
You think that's probably what we've got around now?
Well, usually at the end of the year, we use anywhere from 35, 36, 37,000 every year. When I was putting the budget
Okay.
together, that was kind of the number. So 40,000 covers it.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm wondering if we need to raise the overlay. It probably is going to happen one of these years, because as the taxes increase and the amount of money we're collecting from taxes, you got to assume that the abatements and all the other things that it covers, the discounts and the uncollectibles, is going to start to grow a little as well.
Last year we moved money. Last year we moved money out of overlay at Gail's request a few
That's
days
right.
before the fiscal year
Yeah,
ended. I just wonder if
so
we're
far
gonna be
we've been
doing
doing okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
we'll
we have
see
enough
how
in
we
it.
do in fiscal 26.
that. Okay, and we didn't put any money in the overlay account last year. Last year's
We do
budget did
every-
not have it.
Oh,
Last year's budget did not have anything in the overlay. Did not have an overlay line in it.
I think we always have 40.
yeah, it's always
1,000.
40. We always put 40 in the budget in the finance committee. And I assume that the assessors are using that number.
It carries over from year to year.
Yeah, right.
So
Okay.
we should have about 40 available to us.
But when we at the finance committee bring a budget and we
Yep.
show the amount of taxes that needs to be raised from property taxxes
I
to
hear
cover
you.
that budget, we always add 40,000 to that. So
Yeah.
and that number that we need for the budget plus 40,000 is what the recap uses for the revenue that needs to be generated, so that we over collect by 40,000 and it covers the discounts, the abatements, and everything else that happens.
Yes, and if we don't use it all, it might not be the full 40. It's wonderful having you here explaining it from the finance committee, because I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I
But-
mean, from a practical point of view, that's the purpose, is to make sure that we know we're not going to collect everything. Let's put in an uncollectible amount and add that to the amount we need, set the tax rate based on that higher number. And at the end of the day, we should end up with what we need.
And at the end of the year,
It goes to
I
free
guess
cash.
I
Probably
guess
goes to
it
free
just,
cash.
no,
And-
I think it stays for the next year? Those are the questions Gail probably can
No, I
answer.
don't think so, because I think we rolled it over into free cash last year. There was like 20,000
we
that we
did.
rolled over into free cash. I
Yeah,
think
once
that's
the
what
year is
happens, and then
over,
we
we know we don't need
reappropriate
it
it.
anymore. We collected the extra revenues
Yeah,
because it's 36,000, not 40. That 4,000 that we collected that we didn't need for the overlay, put it back in free cash.
yeah, otherwise we could roll over any line item.
No,
and
the overlay
can't.
is different, and that's why Howard pointed out that we voted on Gail's recommendation that it was getting high. So I'm not saying that I know for sure. I think Gail has to answer, but
Yeah,
Howard
Gail or
was
Dave, I bet you could give us an answer. Next
Yeah.
time we
Yeah.
see Dave, maybe we can pose a question to him.
That would be
Howard
good.
pointed out correctly that we voted to release money from the overlay.
What is,
And that always was my understanding, even in the clerk's office, that that was kind of this hidden pot of money that was available. If
but I
we-
think, I mean, what makes sense to me is what April said, and that is when we release it, we're essentially taking those amounts that we collected over, that extra amount that we didn't use in the overlay and put it back in the free cash, because that
Yeah.
money was collected through
And then
taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
I
we
hear you.
reappropriate it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this is interesting to hear this from the finance committee member.
That's my understanding anyways. That doesn't mean I'm right.
Oh, no, you're right, because I agree with you.
Okay. All right. I've been corroborated.
I'm in the dark here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Let me turn off the lights.
okay.
Anyway. So this is fun.
Okay, so good to know. So this is, are there any items that were not anticipated 48 hours prior to the meeting?
Not that I have.
Okay. And the next meeting of the assessors, did we say June 25th?
Yeah.
Okay, I have June,
No.
hopefully June 9th for the search committee. I'll check with Haley tomorrow morning, and June 25th at 6:30 for assessors. And
Okay,
if we find out tomorrow that we need an extra administrative search committee meeting on the 9th, we'll schedule another meeting in there somehow.
So the 25th is 3 weeks away. So we have assessors work that we'll need to have accomplished that day. It seems
Hopefully not
close.
much. There will be probably some more end of year things. Normally I would have had a conversation with Ellen because I don't know. David might not even know, but Ellen will let me know if there's other things that she needs cleaned up.
Okay, good, because it's year end, we really need to meet. I'm just wondering, it seems close, because usually we go every
Yeah.
other month.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so we
maybe,
can we cancel?
well,
if
maybe
not
talk
need-
to Ellen.
Yeah.
We'll maybe check with Ellen and see if Ellen thinks we need to do anything, and if we don't, then move it back.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
The
just keep
only-
us posted.
The
I'm
only
available
thing,
if you need me. If you
Okay.
need to meet.
and we don't need to post the 25th right away anyway.
No.
The only
Okay,
thing I can know right off the bat is we already have motor vehicle abatements for June, but you guys have given me permission to send them along to her anyway, so that should
Absolutely.
be fine.
Rubber
Okay.
stamp 'em.
All right.
so you're going to talk to Haley tomorrow, is that true?
Correct. I will
Okay, so
come in
we've,
early and hopefully she will, and we can establish. I will let her know what happened tonight and that we need her to pull us together. And that we would like a meeting as soon as possible because we have a candidate. We
Yeah.
want to discuss what to do about our RG. We need questions. We need to appoint a chairman.
Mhm.
And this should happen on Monday, if at all possible.
okay. Okay, fine. Are we ready? Anything else we need to do?
I
Okay.
have nothing.
Okay, I move that we adjourn.
A second.
Okay, I vote aye.
Overnight side.
And Stein, aye.